の中で影の声が囁くんだ。秘密の街角に眠る古い伝説さ。明かされぬ砂塵の謎が呼び覚まされ、闇に消える証拠が夜を包む。探せ消えた真実を闇の奥で見つけ、行方不明の答え、星の涙で洗い流して、洗い流して、闇の中で最終幕待っている。踊れて名付く。
Once upon a time, in a dense, misty forest that stretched beyond the horizon, there lived a young wolf named Sora. She was a creature of grace, her fur silvery as moonlight, her eyes sharp and wise beyond her years. Sora was raised by her parents, two alpha wolves who protected their pack with fierce loyalty and a deep love for the wilderness they roamed. Her life was simple but full of purpose, hunting with her pack, running free beneath the stars and learning the ways of the wild. But the world beyond the forest was not so kind, and one fateful winter that world would intrude upon their lives. A band of hunters with their sharp spears and cruel hearts ventured deep into the forest. They killed Sora's parents in cold blood, leaving their pack shattered. Sora, in her grief and rage, sought vengeance. But in the chaos of the fight, she was struck by a mysterious figure, a witch who stood watching from the shadows. The witch, knowing that the young wolf's heart was torn between her love for her pack and her thirst for revenge, decided to intervene, not with kindness, but with magic. She cast a spell upon Sora, transforming her into something neither fully wolf nor human, a creature caught between two worlds. With a flick of her gnarled finger, Sora's body began to twist and change. Her limbs elongated, becoming more human in shape, her fur melting into skin. Her sharp claws became hands, and her wolf instincts were both heightened and clouded by the awareness of a human mind, now entwined with her animal nature. The witch's voice echoed in Sora's mind. You will never be a full wolf again, but perhaps you will find something greater. You are now a guardian, a protector. The world will need you, both the beasts and the people. At first, Sora was lost, her mind fragmented by the new form, the confusion of what she was becoming. The howl of the wild inside her clashed with the voices of humanity that began to whisper through her thoughts. She could no longer hunt as she had before, no longer run with the wind beneath her paws. Yet the spell had granted her something more. The ability to understand both humans and wolves, to bridge the gap between them. In the years that followed, Sora wandered the world, struggling to come to terms with her new identity. She lived among humans for a time, learning their ways. She witnessed their capacity for kindness, but also their cruelty. In a world where wolves were hunted and feared, Sora saw the suffering they endured at the hands of men, both the innocent and the guilty. Her heart ached for them, as it had once ached for her parents. But she knew now that her path was to protect, not to destroy. One fateful day, she met an elderly man on the edge of a small village. Everyone referred to him as the Grandmaster. He was a healer, known for his gentle touch and wise words. As they spoke, Sora learned that he too had known great loss. He shared stories of his own ancestors who had once lived in harmony with the wolves of the forest. He spoke of a time when humans and wolves were not enemies, when the wild was respected and balance was maintained. His words stirred something deep within Sora. She understood then the true meaning of her parents' final wish: to protect both the humans who had caused them harm and the wolves who had suffered at their hands. She was not just a beast, nor was she simply a woman. She was a bridge between two worlds, a guardian who could heal the rift that had torn them apart. She hunted the hunters, fought off poachers, and thwarted those who sought to destroy the wilderness. And though she had the heart of a wolf, she carried within her the soul of a protector, guided by the love of her parents' final wish. And so, the legend of Sora lived on, carried on the wind through the trees, a story told by those who knew her and by the wolves who still roamed free beneath the watchful eye of the one who had once been lost, but now stood as their protector. Many years have passed now. The then young and determined wolf, full of light, courage, and optimism, is now a veteran in her organization known as Guardian, working side by side with the human police force. But on one fateful night, her life changed forever. The cold night air clung to the walls of the mansion like an omen. The estate sprawled across acres of forest, a monument to excess, its windows reflecting the dim light of a crescent moon. But inside, beneath the soft glow of crystal chandeliers and opulent furnishings, a crime had been committed. A crime that neither the local authorities nor the hired detectives could explain. The victim was James Hawke, a billionaire businessman whose wealth was rivaled only by his ruthlessness. But tonight, as his lifeless body lay sprawled across the marble floor of his study, it wasn't his empire or his power that intrigued anyone. It was the mark on his neck. A strange, almost otherworldly wound, 2 punctures, perfectly spaced, dripping blood into the white fabric of his shirt. "Enter Sora," the lone investigator called to the scene. She was no ordinary detective. Sora had a reputation for unraveling mysteries in the darkest corners of the world, from unsolved murders to inexplicable phenomena. Tonight, she had been summoned by a cryptic call from a source that wouldn't reveal their identity. When she arrived, the mansion had already been sealed off by the local authorities. Sora pushed open the heavy wooden door of the study, her eyes scanning the room. The walls were lined with shelves of leather-bound books and priceless art, but it was the body that held her attention. James Hawke was dead, his blood staining the immaculate floor. Her mind began working as she knelt beside the corpse, her gaze drawn instinctively to the puncture wounds on his neck. At first, she thought it might be the work of a drugged-out addict or a deranged fan, but something didn't feel right. The marks were too neat, too deliberate. Vampire marks.
These markings. I've always feared a day like this would come. The day I'd have to hunt a vampire.
Sora said quietly, her voice steady despite the unease twisting in her gut. She had known for years that there were others like her, people and creatures who walked the line between the human world and something far darker. But this was different. The richness of the blood, the power behind the bite. It wasn't just any vampire, it was someone dangerous, someone powerful.
Who would kill a billionaire like Hawke, and why?
The wealth, the power, the influence. It wasn't just a casual murder, it was a warning, a challenge. And the fact that Sora, a wolf, one of the few who still understood the old ways, was here, meant that things were about to spiral out of control.
Looks like I'm going hunting again.
The shadow of the moonlight night, the howl that pierces night, the spirit of a legend, boundless in its fight. I am the voice of thunder that echoes in the void. When silence turns to fury, my wrath is unalloyed. You can't break me, hear me howl. In the darkness, I'm the proud. The wolf unleashed, no fear, no doubt. In the twilight, I scream out. Irrevocable, my spirit, rolling through the snow. With eyes that pierce the silence, in shadows I bestow.